Today, our story centers on Robert McCall, a seemingly ordinary man leading a quiet life in Boston. But beneath his unassuming exterior lies a hidden past and a set of skills that make him anything but ordinary. In the 2014 thriller, The Equalizer, Robert's life takes a dramatic turn when he befriends a young woman named Terry. The pair often talk about the books he has been reading and Robert's goal to read 100 books as his wife had made a goal of reading. One evening, Terry shares that her real name is Alina and that she dreams of becoming a singer. Robert and Alina take a stroll, but Alina's pimp Slavy abruptly arrives, hits Alina and forces her into a car. Robert gets to know that Alina is ensnared in the clutches of the Russian mafia. Unable to ignore her plight, Robert embarks on a mission to help Terry and bring down the criminal empire responsible for her suffering. As he navigates the dangerous underworld of organized crime, Robert becomes known as the Equalizer, a vigilant hero who dispenses justice with ruthless efficiency. Get ready for a heart-pounding journey as Robert McCall fights to right the wrongs of the world in this gripping tale of redemption and revenge.
Perfect.
The tale begins with a man named Robert McCall, residing in Boston. Each day, Robert diligently carries out his duties at the Home Mart hardware store. He leads an unremarkable life, characterized by routine. Within the confines of his workplace, Robert strikes up a friendship with his colleague, Ralphie, a portly individual striving to qualify for the security officer selection exam through a rigorous diet regimen. Advising Ralphie, Robert suggests steering clear of high-carbohydrate fare in favor of fiber-rich foods. Methodical and disciplined, Robert maintains a penchant for orderliness, meticulously calculating the duration of his tasks with the aid of the seconds counter on his watch. In the evenings, Robert consistently carves out time to indulge in a book at his favorite restaurant, where he maintains a subscription. Always prepared, Robert brings along his own tea bags and cutlery. His inclination towards tidiness manifests as he meticulously arranges his napkins and utensils on the table,
not bad,
ensuring cleanliness and proper placement. On this particular night, the ambience of the diner is serene, with only a sparse scattering of patrons present. Amidst the subdued atmosphere sits a striking figure, Alina, whose beauty captivates Robert's attention. She extends a friendly greeting and inquires about the narrative unfolding within the pages of his book. After a brief exchange, Alina bids Robert farewell and departs, summoning a taxi to whisk her away. The following day dawns, and Robert falls back into his familiar routine. He makes his way to Home Mart, engaging in lively conversation with Ralphie and his fellow co-workers throughout the day. Upon his return home, he attends to household chores before enjoying the meal. As evening descends, Robert once again finds himself at his beloved diner, book in hand, ready to lose himself in its pages. Shortly after Robert arrived there, Alina enters the diner in skimpy clothes and heavy makeup. Alina is a teenage prostitute who is employed by Terry for the Russian mob, Slavy. She was just about to order a drink when her cell phone rang, a call from her boss. That night, Alina finds herself obligated to entertain a customer who had propositioned her outside the diner. Attempting to evade her duties, she pleads with Slavy over the phone, urging him to release her from the task. As it turns out, the man often abuses Alina, but Slavy pays no heed to her pleas and orders Alina to fulfill her duties without delay. Reminding her of her indebtedness, he threatens her with dire consequences if she refuses. With little recourse, Alina reluctantly acquiesces to Slavy's demands. Leaving the diner, she approaches the man who had solicited her services, all the while feeling the weight of Robert's curious gaze upon her. The following day, Robert accompanies Ralphie during his rigorous physical exercises aimed at shedding weight for the upcoming security officer selection exam. Despite Ralphie's struggles and near desire to give up due to the intensity of the training, Robert persists in offering unwavering support and assistance, wholeheartedly dedicated to helping Ralphie achieve his aspiration of becoming a security guard. Following his exercise session, Robert falls back into his regular groove, which entails heading to his beloved restaurant to indulge in some book reading. However, upon his arrival on this particular evening, he discovers Alina already occupying a seat at the diner. Approaching Robert, Alina courteously seeks permission to join him at her preferred table tucked away in the corner. Robert warmly grants her request, and as they engage in conversation, he he can't help but notice the bruises adorning Alina's otherwise beautiful face. Through their discussion, Robert learns of Alina's plight. She is coerced into working for Slavy due to a debt, despite harboring dreams of becoming a renowned singer. Moved by Alina's story, she offers Robert a CD containing a recording of one of her songs. Gratefully accepting the gift, Robert promises to listen to it attentively, touched by Alina's gesture of trust and vulnerability. After a leisurely chat at the diner, Robert opts to accompany Alina on foot as they make their way home. Their dialogue continues to captivate as they walk, until their progress is suddenly impeded by a car pulling up directly in their path. Robert's heart sinks as he realizes the driver is Slavy, who wastes no time in confronting Alina. With alarming speed, Slavy lashes out at her, his fury fueled by her inability to satisfy a client the night before, demanding restitution. Witnessing the violence, Robert feels an overwhelming urge to step in, but Slavy swiftly silences any notion of interference with a chilling threat. Helplessly defeated, Robert can only watch as Slavy extends a business card, insidiously offering his services should Robert ever seek a comfort woman. With one final command, Slavy forcefully seizes Alina, leaving Robert feeling utterly powerless and profoundly unsettled by the harrowing encounter. In the subsequent nights, Robert notices Alina's absence from his regular diner. Concerned, he inquires with one of the diner's employees, who reveals the distressing news that Alina has been assaulted and is currently hospitalized. Deeply troubled by this revelation, Robert rushes to the hospital to find Alina lying helpless, her face marred by bruises. There he encounters Mandy, one of Alina's co-workers, who discloses that Slavy had subjected Alina to beatings for her defiance and insubordination. Witnessing Alina's dire state and learning of the harsh treatment she endures from both clients and her pimp, Robert is overcome with empathy and resolves to assist her in escaping the perilous circumstances she faces. Determined to help Alina overcome her troubles, Robert pledges to support her through the challenges ahead. The scene shifts to Slavy's fancy restaurant as he strides purposefully towards his office. Inside, a group of his henchmen await his arrival, ready to deposit money from individuals indebted to Slavy. Before long, Robert enters Slavy's office, determined to negotiate Alina's release by offering a sum of money in exchange for her freedom from servitude. However, Slavy swiftly dismisses Robert's proposal, asserting that Alina's return to work would yield him greater profits. Disheartened by Slavy's refusal, Robert retrieves the offered money and turns to leave, resigned to the realization that freeing Alina from Slavy's grasp will not be as straightforward as he had hoped. Rather than departing immediately, Robert pauses in front of the door of Slavy's office. Without a word, he calmly locks the door behind him, pivoting to squarely face Slavy and his cadre of henchmen. Taking a moment to survey the room and its occupants, Robert calculates with chilling precision that it would take him just 16 seconds to eliminate everyone present. With an eerie calmness masking his intent, Robert swiftly incapacitates Slavy and his henchmen, methodically neutralizing each threat with a cold, expressionless demeanor. In a swift and calculated display of violence, Robert dispatches them all, his actions driven by a steely determination to free Alina from their clutches. Despite Slavy's desperate pleas for mercy, Robert remains resolute, unmoved by the pleas of a man who had callously dismissed his initial offer. With his task complete, Robert returns home, seamlessly slipping back into his usual routine in the days that follow.
Perfect!
As Robert goes about his daily activities, he catches a news report on television detailing the murder of Slavy and his henchmen. The police attribute the killings to an ongoing feud between rival gangs, unaware of the true perpetrator behind the brutal act. The scene shifts to Teddy Rinson, a newcomer to the United States, who has just arrived and swiftly makes his way to the location of Slavy's murder, unaware of the intricate web of events that led to the crime. Teddy Rinson, acting as an emissary for Vladimir Pushkin, Slavy's superior, arrives in the United States to investigate the murder of Slavy and uncover the perpetrator behind the gruesome crime. With a background in the Russian secret police and specialized training in combat, Teddy quickly discerns that the assailant behind Slavy's demise is no ordinary individual, but rather someone skilled in the art of warfare. Meanwhile, Robert is taken aback by the news of Ralphie's resignation. Upon visiting Ralphie at his home, Robert discovers that Ralphie is assisting his mother in cleaning up her shop, which was targeted by corrupt police officers in retaliation for her refusal to pay security bribes. Determined to support his mother, Ralphie opts to leave his job at Home Mart and dedicate himself to helping her rebuild the store. Teddy and Robert find themselves drawn into a complex web of intrigue and danger, each on their own path to uncovering the truth behind Slavy's murder and its far-reaching implications. In the evening, Robert resolves to aid Ralphie by taking matters into his own hands. With steely determination, he clandestinely tails the corrupt policeman responsible for extorting security allowances from small business owners in Ralphie's neighborhood. Armed with a camera, Robert covertly documents the officers' illicit activities before confronting them with the incriminating evidence. In a bold move, Robert confronts the corrupt policeman, issuing a stern ultimatum to cease their exploitative actions or face exposure. Despite the officers' initial resistance, Robert proves to be more than a match for them, overpowering them in a physical altercation. Defeated and humiliated, the corrupt officers relent, returning the extorted funds to the residents and abandoning their nefarious practices. With justice served and Ralphie's mother receiving the necessary capital to refurbish her shop and resume business operations, Ralphie is able to return to his job at Home Mart. Fueled by renewed determination, Ralphie resumes his rigorous training regimen, ultimately achieving his long-held ambition of becoming a security officer. In a different part of town, Teddy employs aggressive interrogation tactics on gangsters known to have dealings with Slavy, determined to extract information that could lead him to the mastermind behind Slavy's murder. With little success from this approach, Teddy shifts his focus to Slavy's subordinates, particularly the prostitutes under his employ. Through his investigation, Teddy learns of Alina's recent conflicts with Slavy, prompting him to approach Mandy, another of Slavy's associates, for further details. Pressuring Mandy to divulge information about Alina's rebellion, Teddy is informed of a mysterious visitor who had recently visited Alina in the hospital. However, realizing the potential threat posed by Mandy's knowledge, Teddy takes drastic action and eliminates her. Armed with the information obtained from Mandy, Teddy promptly reviews CCTV footage from both the hospital and the location of Slavy's murder. Despite the dim visibility, Teddy manages to discern Robert's presence in the recordings, leading him closer to unraveling the truth behind Slavy's death. One day, Robert finds himself thrust into a sudden crisis when a man attempts to rob a cashier at Home Mart, who happens to be one of his co-workers. Despite the potential danger, Robert assesses the situation quickly and opts for a non-confrontational approach, complying with the robber's demands, which includes surrendering the cashier's gold ring. With many visitors present, including children, Robert prioritizes their safety. After allowing the robber to depart, Robert makes a mental note of the license plate of the getaway car. The following day, to the astonishment of the female cashier, her stolen ring mysteriously reappears in the cash register. Suspicion falls on Robert when he is spotted wiping clean a large hammer, revealing his clandestine intervention to incapacitate the robber and recover the stolen item. That night, to Robert's surprise, Teddy arrives at his doorstep, posing as a police officer investigating Slavy's murder case. Teddy inquiries about Robert's whereabouts on the night of Slavy's demise, specifically mentioning his presence at a fancy restaurant. With a cool demeanor honed by training, Robert responds calmly, providing answers to Teddy's questions in an attempt to deflect suspicion and maintain his facade. Despite the seemingly cordial exchange, both Teddy and Robert are aware of the deception at play. Robert senses Teddy's true identity and purpose, while Teddy harbors suspicions about Robert's involvement in Slavy's murder. Recognizing the imminent danger posed by the Russian mafia's pursuit, Robert hastily devises a plan to vacate his apartment, knowing that he must evade capture and ensure his safety. In a swift turn of events, Teddy orchestrates an attack on Robert at the diner, but Robert easily incapacitates Teddy's men. Seizing an opportunity, Robert captures a photo of Teddy in his car before fleeing the scene. Teddy and his men give chase to Robert's apartment, only to find it empty save for drugs and torn sports tickets, yielding no clues to Robert's true identity. Meanwhile, Robert, observing the pursuit of Teddy and his henchmen through a hidden camera in his apartment, realizes the gravity of the situation. Aware that he is facing one of the world's most formidable Russian criminal organizations, Robert decides to seek assistance from his former colleague at the Defense Intelligence Agency, Susan Palmer. Utilizing her resources, Susan provides Robert with crucial information regarding Vladimir Pushkin and his criminal operations, equipping Robert with valuable insights into his adversary's tactics and resources. With Susan's assistance, Robert prepares to confront the formidable forces aligned against him, knowing that his survival hinges on staying one step ahead of the dangerous game unfolding around him. Susan also informs Robert that Teddy Rinson's true identity is Nikolai Ichenko. With newfound clarity and resolve, Robert embarks on a mission to dismantle Vladimir Pushkin's criminal empire in the United States. Understanding the gravity of his actions, Susan confides in her husband that Robert didn't seek assistance, but rather sought permission to take decisive action. Robert's first move is to infiltrate Pushkin's cash vault, where he swiftly incapacitates Pushkin's men and confines them within the vault's refrigerator. With the criminals secured, Robert contacts the authorities and leaves behind incriminating evidence in the form of a memory stick loaded with information detailing Pushkin's illicit activities. With this bold and calculated maneuver, Robert sets in motion the unraveling of Pushkin's criminal network, striking a decisive blow against organized crime in the United States. In the evening, Teddy indulges in dinner at a posh restaurant, unaware of the looming danger. Before him materializes a trained assassin hired by Teddy to eliminate Robert. However, moments after the assassin departs, Robert makes his entrance, confronting Teddy face to face. With a steely resolve, Robert sits down opposite Teddy, presenting him with the hitman's battered glasses as evidence. Robert reveals his knowledge of Teddy's past and issues a stern warning, urging Teddy to abandon his pursuit and vowing to dismantle Pushkin's criminal syndicate. True to his word, Robert strikes a decisive blow against Pushkin's operations by sabotaging oil tankers linked to the criminal enterprise, ultimately crippling Pushkin's entire business network in the United States. In retaliation, Teddy swiftly devises a plan to neutralize Robert once and for all. Teaming up with his henchmen, Teddy storms the Home Mart store, taking several of Robert's co-workers hostage in a bid to lure him into a trap. With tensions escalating and lives hanging in the balance, Robert faces his most perilous challenge yet as he confronts Teddy and his ruthless pursuit. After receiving Teddy's menacing threat to harm his co-workers if he doesn't comply, Robert remains unfazed, anticipating such a move. Swiftly devising a plan, Robert infiltrates the control room of the Home Mart store, gaining access to the loudspeaker system to sow confusion among Teddy and his henchmen. Exploiting the distraction, Robert incapacitates several of Teddy's men, seizing the opportunity to liberate Ralphie and rally their co-workers to safety through the store's rear exit. With Ralphie's assistance, all the co-workers are safely evacuated to a secure location. With his comrades out of harm's way, Robert plunges the store into darkness by disabling the main lighting system, leaving only dim spotlights to illuminate the scene. Utilizing the tools at his disposal, Robert systematically eliminates Teddy's men, methodically striking from the shadows. In a climactic showdown, Robert confronts Teddy, engaging in a lethal struggle that culminates in Robert dispatching Teddy with a nail gun, bringing an end to the threat once and for all. 3 days later, Robert journeys to Moscow, where he systematically eliminates all of Pushkin's guards stationed at his opulent mansion. Employing cunning tactics, Robert lures Pushkin into a fatal trap, ultimately causing Pushkin to meet his demise by electrocution. With Vladimir Pushkin eliminated, Robert ensures the cessation of all his illicit activities, bringing an end to his criminal empire. Upon his return to the United States, Robert encounters Alina outside a grocery store. Having recovered from her injuries, Alina approaches him, revealing that she has embarked on a new and promising chapter in her life since being liberated from Slavy's grasp. Grateful for the second chance Robert provided her, Alina expresses her appreciation with a gentle kiss on his cheek. Moved by Alina's transformation and the plight of her and her co-workers, Robert finds renewed purpose in using his skills to aid those in need. Inspired by their resilience and his own capacity to effect change, Robert resolves to continue his efforts to make a positive impact on the lives of others. In the evening, Robert adheres to his routine of visiting his favorite diner, but tonight he brings along not only a book but also a laptop. With purposeful intent, Robert posts an online advertisement, adopting the moniker The Equalizer. The underlying message of his actions echoes the moral of the film. Despite our past and origins, we have the choice to decide what kind of person we want to be in the future. Empowered by this belief, Robert commits himself to a path of using his skills to aid those in need and alleviate the challenges they encounter. That was it from today's recap of The Equalizer. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment below. Stay connected for future updates and more exciting content. So, until next time, remember to embrace your inner equalizer and let compassion guide your actions. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you at the movies.